going on, everybody? This is Dave from Post Rock Promo. I'm here with Kenny from Plutarch from Detroit, Michigan. How's it going, Kenny?
Pretty good. How you doing, Dave?
Doing good, thank you. So
Good. Thanks for having me on.
let's dive right into it. So when did
Sure.
you start up Plutarch?
I started kind of early last year, like kind of right before things started getting hectic. But I'd been sitting on a couple songs for a few months before that. So yeah, it was pretty much all like last year that I put everything together. But I'd have been in bands like before that too. So this was just me like bored at home during quarantine. Like, okay, I've played enough video games. Let's do something else.
Is this your first post rock one?
No, so the band I was in before that for a while was kind of sort of post rock, more like Coheed-ish, post hardcore, post rock, a little ambient stuff. Um, so I'm pretty familiar with the genre. Uh, and this was really just more diving into composing all of the parts and seeing how all the pieces fit together, and it was a really fun time. For the stereotype that post rock kind of gets of it's just like really mellow and everything, like it's still a really enjoyable experience.
A lot of people don't like it because there's no singing.
Yeah, it's all about the ride, really. There's some great bands that don't have vocalists, and it's just you put your headphones in and just kind of like go with it.
Right. So you released an EP to Speak a Name in November. How's the response been?
Truthfully, I probably could do a little bit better with the PR, just promoting it, but everybody that I've showed it to has given me pretty good feedback. So that's always something that's cool to hear, especially when you're dealing with something as personal as like writing songs and putting it out there for the world to see. Um, but yeah, it's been pretty well liked, at least from what I
That's
can tell,
awesome.
and totally. And the most important thing for me, at least, is like I'm satisfied with how it turned out, and
That's all that
it's
matters.
it's icing on the cake that other people dig it. So it's really cool.
So who'd you record it with, and how was the process?
So the process was kind of I had started working on some demos, and I got to a point where I was living in a rented house in a city called Oak Park over here in Michigan, and I just had set up some mics and a little like Scarlett 2-channel recorder, and just started banging out some demos. And I had just been browsing Facebook one day, and one of my friends shared a post from Jeff Rickley from Thursday, and it was like when the quarantine hit and everybody was out of work and had a lot of free time. So he was offering to work with artists with pre-production and creative counseling or consulting, excuse me. So I sent him a message, and he got back to me and asked to see some of my stuff, and we started working from there via email mostly, but we did get on a Zoom call to kind of talk over things, and it was really it was pretty serendipitous, to be honest with you. I was like at the point where with my demos, I'm like, okay, like what else where do I go from here? It's the first time I'm writing songs by myself, doing everything. I would like some guidance, and then just out of the blue, I saw a message, and it was like, okay, I'll try this opportunity, and it all worked out.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Are you
definitely.
are you gonna work with him on your next release or no?
I haven't really given any thought really about who to work with. I'm wrapping up like the demo writing phase and kind of getting the pieces of pre-production lined up. So, if it was on an option to go with him again, I'd love to work with him. But, if I ended up working with a different producer, that'd be cool too.
That's really cool, man. So you're from Detroit, Michigan. How's the scene there? Do you have a favorite venue or favorite local band?
The scene here is really, I gotta say, living in the Metro Detroit area, it's a thriving music scene. There's incredibly talented artists in any genre you could name. There's amazing talent everywhere, not just rock. Um, Some of my favorite local venues, I'd have to say the Loving Touch in Ferndale is a really good one to play. Um, any of the small dive bars in Hamtramck are awesome to see shows at. They throw a music festival every year where there's like 20 venues in the city. So uh, the thing about Hamtramck is it's a really small, like 2 square miles or something like that, like tiny. So you can just walk around the whole city and catch shows all night. That's a blast. Um, the Magic Stick in Detroit is a classic. I've seen a lot of cool bands there. But there's always like, at least before the pandemic, there was always stuff going on, and a lot of talented individuals.
Very cool. So who are
Definitely.
your biggest influences?
Um, I kind of pull influences from a lot of different places, but I'd have to say one of my biggest ones, gosh, musically, I pull a lot from like older bands. I'd say I grew up listening to bands like Led Zeppelin and Def Leppard, like in my dad's car listening to cassette decks. Uh, that's kind of like really old school, but
Classics.
um, yeah, dude, like listening to that stuff. A lot of contemporary artists, like I mentioned Coheed and Cambria as an influence. I really appreciated the fresh sound they were bringing to like a progressive rock approach. Um, I like bands like LCD Sound System, uh, a little bit of like the electronica kind of stuff. New wave artists like the Talking Heads is one I've been listening to a lot. Um, Joy Division. Uh, and then I even listen to artists like Jaco Pastorius, like jazz, Miles Davis. Um, so it's really all over the place. I even listen to some classical music, to be honest with you, uh, for those moments where I'm just trying to like zen out. Uh,
I feel like a little bit of everything.
I really, it's weird. I just enjoy listening to all different kinds of stuff. And, as a musician, there's always something that you can pull from different songs and different styles.
That's sweet, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm gonna ask you some non-music questions now. It's a good way for me to get to know you. I did this with the other bands I interviewed. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. First one, favorite season.
Well, with Michigan, we get all the seasons: spring, summer, construction, and then winter for the rest of it. I'd have to say spring. It's kind of like you're coming out of the drudgery of winter, and like summer's not quite there yet, so it's not blisteringly hot and there's not bugs everywhere. But there's some really nice days out. I mean, I'm sure living in Pennsylvania, you get to see
Yep.
some of that. And yeah, so definitely spring.
Favorite sports team.
Red Wings all the day. I mean, I gotta rep my home team. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. If you could have the power of teleportation right now, where would you go?
That is a really good question. I I'm gonna have to say that I I would probably teleport to go visit my grandparents real quick, just because I haven't seen them for a minute, and you know, it's always good to connect with family sometimes.
That's
It's a
awesome,
lame
man.
answer, but
Where are they at?
they're about 20 miles away in a city called Sterling Heights.
That's not too
So
bad.
it's kind of it's not the most exciting answer, but it's an honest one.
Can't go wrong with family.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the most important things, honestly. And if last year's taught me anything, it's to value stuff like that, because you know, nothing in life is for sure, but family is definitely something to value.
For sure, man. If you had $1 million, what would be the first thing that you bought?
The first thing I would buy with $1 million, I would hmm, I would probably do something like open up a Whataburger franchise somewhere outside of the Southwest, because I feel like the rest of the country needs to get some of that.
I've never been there. I've heard good things about it.
I've never been to the West Coast, but I've got a lot of close friends that are out of there, and then also that visit regularly, and they're just like, you don't know, what you're missing. And like that's a pretty good way to spend $1 million, I think. It'd be like giving back to the people.
Exactly. All right, last one. If you could eat one dessert for the rest of your life, what would it be?
One dessert.
Yeah.
I would have to say, uh, I would have to say cannoli.
Great
It's
answer.
it's
That
pretty
is a
sweet, but
great
then it's got
answer.
the shell like it's ice cream, but not quite. You can
That's
put
one of
nuts on
my
it if you
favorite
want.
desserts too.
It's great. Really an underrated dessert.
Well, thanks, man, for coming on and chatting up a little bit. Really appreciate it. I really appreciate you supporting me in Post Rock Promo.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for doing something for the scene. Even in these crazy times, it's cool to talk to people about music, and I really appreciate what you're doing. Thanks for having me on.
We'll chat soon. I hope you have a great night.
Thanks. Have a good one.
See ya.
Adios.